China is also trying to get its economy back up and running at the national level. The central government has called for efforts to ward off the negative impact of COVID-19 on employment. Current affairs commentator Einar Tangen joins me down from Beijing to provide more insight. So, Einar, we've seen reports of a big recruitment drive in Hubei province, for example. But across the country, who is actually hiring? And for job seekers, what sectors are their best bet?
Well, right now it's a lot on the internet. Anything that has to do with delivery, packaging, etc., that's going very well. And surprisingly, also in the high-tech area, anything to do with cloud services, online services, not so much education. There's a lot of activity, but not as much hiring. So there are pockets of the economy which are, in fact, responding very well to the challenges that COVID-19 has created.
How many workers do you think are facing unemployment after this outbreak that are not able to get their old jobs back?
Well, this is one of those things that's very difficult to tell. The official stats put out by the government reflect a 6.2% unemployment number. Now, that really only goes to about 120,000 different families. That's the sample unit, but mostly in the urban areas. So there's a real question about migrant workers, this 290 million large population that kind of fluctuates between cities and the countryside. So for them, it's much harder to know. There are a lot of rules in place. The government has said you can't fire people if they're sick. You can't fire them for no reason. So the employment logs are large, but a lot of them are earning very meager. They're earning the minimum necessary to keep them employed, and that's based on local conditions. So it's very hard to estimate at this time, but it's clear that in the service sectors, anything to do with hospitality, entertainment, restaurants, as you were just covering, very, very difficult. It's a demand issue. People have to have the confidence to spend money in order for these establishments to get back up and running.
And Einar, this all began around Chinese New Year. It's so hard to believe that that was such a long time ago. It seems like it was. So you see these migrant workers who are stuck because of the lockdowns are slowly starting to make their way back. How quickly do you think are people getting back to work? Are you seeing more regional movements?
Well, yes. I mean, things are normalizing. I mean, there are always, a few little spots where the government is taking extra precautions. I mean, I live in a district which has just been red noticed last night because a young man who came from overseas somehow slipped through the net and infected some people. So things will, tighten up for a while. But everything in terms of the street traffic, unfortunately, the traffic congestion are getting back to normal. But at lunchtime, it's not the same crowd as it used to be. And you see that across China. People are still more cautious. They're being careful about their money. Unfortunately, this is not what the government needs. It needs to have people going out and spending, not exactly the way they used to, but at least near to that, to support these local businesses and themselves and the jobs that they bring.
What about for the young people? This is normally would be an exciting time for college graduates, now a tough time. What is next for them? What are you hearing there? Any advice at all?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be extremely positive. I keep saying there's 9 million new fresh graduates coming out of college this year, and they're going to be looking for jobs. And I stress to them, do not look at this as a problem. Look at it as an opportunity. The fact is, if you have a problem and your friends have a problem and you can solve it, this is the basis of a new business. It's a question of money. Try to do things that have low amounts of investment, but try to look at society in the way it's changing. Use what you learned in school and be very, very positive. That's the only way. If you just sit at home and wait for somebody to call you, it's probably not going to happen. So this is the time to be very positive, be upbeat, and look around. There are tremendous opportunities in all the chaos. And the question is, how can you help not only yourself, but your society?
And be very creative. Einar Tangen, thank you so much for joining us from Beijing. We appreciate it.